This is Creating Your Encore Career and Becoming a Silver Entrepreneur with your host, Lynn Freest. Lynn will share ideas and expert advice from people that are walking in your shoes and living their encore careers, where they want and at the pace they want. You'll start a company of one with confidence and knowledge to live a fulfilled life of freedom and ease. Lynn is a coach and leadership consultant whose mission is to show senior leaders and experts how to start something refreshing and new after a full career in the corporate environment.
Welcome to this episode of Creating Your Encore Career and Becoming a Silver Entrepreneur. Again, thanks for listening. With an encore career, you can be creating value in the world beyond just winning that next pickleball game. You can work when you want, where you want, and you can do the work you love. You can be living your dream. Well, if you're ready to get started today, please contact me at lynn@lynnfreest.com. Again, thanks. Today's episode is episode 195, and its title is Creating Multiple Streams of Income as a Solopreneur. So this is a little different episode because here I'm just going to show you examples of what might be possible as you create your encore career and lead somewhat of a portfolio life. An encore career doesn't have to be that grind that you stepped away from the corporate life, but it can have a wide variety of things that you do. So we'll explore a little bit of that today and share them with you. As a solopreneur, having multiple streams of income is crucial to having a sustainable business and achieving your financial freedom. Today, we'll discuss some of those things and show you the different ways that you could create that extra income as well as a variety of income. Now, I'll go through a whole list of things here and give you examples, but you certainly don't have to do all or even any of them, but it's just there to show you what's possible. A lot of my inspiration for this comes from my good friend and teacher, Jonathan Milligan, and he wrote the best-selling book, Your Message Matters, where he explains some of this stuff in more detail. So there'll be a link to his website in the show notes, and I encourage you to contact him and look at his programs. So some of the streams of income, the way especially Jonathan thinks of it, we have maybe 4 different ways that we think of ourselves. We can be a writer, we can be a coach, we can be a teacher, or we can be a speaker. And then within that, he's suggested some different ways to earn income. So if you're a writer, obviously, you could do a book, a Kindle book to start with. That can be one of the easiest ways to get going. But then you can also do a full-fledged print book. Again, a great way to share your expertise and do things like that. And then you can also do an audiobook. If you're a coach and that seems to be your strength, you can obviously do one-on-one coaching. You can do things like a 4-week boot camp or even a group coaching program. And then if you're a teacher, you can do workshops and you do online courses, even things like a membership site. And finally, if you're a speaker, you might start out doing free speaking and use speaking to trigger other things like book sales or having people sign up for coaching or different things. But you can also have paid speaking. You may work yourself up and share your expertise and become a paid keynote speaker. Or in the case of conferences and stuff, maybe you'll do paid workshops. So let's go back and do some of those a little more in depth. There are several different ways. The Kindle book is a great way to get started, but then that can lead to a print book and that can lead on to an audio book. You really need to get started just starting writing, if nothing else. It's one of those things where, and I've been told this in my experiences, I've got 195 podcasts now. I have a lot of material that I've talked with or interviewed people on that could, in fact, be turned into a book. You probably have done that same thing in your career. Start thinking about speeches you've given in your career, PowerPoint presentations, trainings you've given. All those things can help feed your encore career and lead towards the creation of a book. And again, there are many ways to go about that. You can speak your book in today's world. You could literally just have somebody interview you and talk about your expertise and then transcribe those interviews, and you could generate that to create a book. So a lot of those things will get you started. And then you can do blogging and different things like that, or appear on social media. All of that will help you build an audience for that book when you finally get ready to publish it. Or if you've got a background in coaching, we listed several different ways: one-on-one coaching, boot camps, or group coaching. And it's one of those things where the one-on-one coaching, if you've done that before, that's probably a place to start. You can go out and share your message, share what you're doing on social media, places like LinkedIn. You can even contact people you've worked with in the past and say whether they want coaching, but often more likely, do they know of anybody that might like coaching in your expertise? If you have like supply chain management, maybe there's people new in that arena that you could provide coaching to bring up their skills and experiences in supply chain management, as one example. The next thing is things called 4-week boot camps. So you may have a particular thing that you were good at. You say, hey, I'm going to meet with a small group of people every week for 4 weeks, and it'll be a paid course, but I'll give you an outline and we'll coach you through to help you build the skills in a short period of time that will help you moving forward. So that's another opportunity. And sort of an expansion on that is a group coaching program. And that might be for 3 months, 6 months, or even a year. So you might say, I'm going to help you prepare to be a manager in supply chain management, something like that, where you're really going to help people bring up their skill level, share your experiences, your expertise, and help them over a period of months create the next level in their career or their position. But again, it's one of those things where, going back to any of these, you have to start establishing yourself as an authority. And so you have to also create some trust. So whether it be through social media, maybe it's a podcast like I'm doing here, or something else, blogs. The last thing we'll talk about, speaking. All of these things are pieces where you can start getting in front of your ideal audience, building trust and understanding, and thereby asking people to hire you for one of these different things. The third income stream is a teacher. And it's one of those things, you may have given classes. You may just naturally enjoy sharing your topics with people. So there's a variety of things you can do. One-day virtual workshops. You can create online courses that are evergreen, that you just say, here's a list of 7 or 8 videos, and we're going to let people work their way through them. And maybe you have a Q&A session you do as part of that. So there's a wide variety of things you can do. And the third thing is membership sites. And here's a case where people will join for maybe a moderate cost, and then once or twice a month, you'll have Q&A sessions. You may do some teaching, but people are in this for maybe a longer period of time, 6 months or a year, because they're just trying to build knowledge and skills. And also, quite frankly, one of the magic pieces of a membership is people will be learning from each other. So again, it's just super that people can learn from each other as well as from you as they start building skills and expertise. As always, you have to think about the quality. What am I teaching? And I would say, as you're the Encore Career crowd, we have to go back and think about, okay, is the expertise we're sharing still relevant? The world has changed. Technology has changed. Often the human interaction issues are things that haven't changed, and that may be where you can share some of your most value. But those are all things to experience, saying, okay, what do I might need to up my skills, especially with regards to things like technology, or maybe the key issues in my field have shifted over time. So it's one of those things that you may need to adjust your understanding so that you can truly share what's important about your skills with your audience. And the final piece is the one as speaker incomes. And often, for example, people will start out by, I think for me, it's a good way to practice your message, actually even develop your message. The more you get out and speak your message to others and start to get the feedback, you'll find out it really helps you, one, articulate it in your own mind, what it is you're trying to share with people. But two, you'll also find out if you're missing the point or that's not something that people are interested in, because you'll start getting feedback. And so there's always free opportunities, whether it be chambers of commerce or rotaries, or even in some associations and different things. So there's always opportunities in one way or another for you. You can even do it online. One of the ways that I've done it is I have an online webinar. And I've done that a couple of times where I've said, I invited people. promoted it a little bit on social media and said, hey, I'm going to talk for 40 minutes or so on this particular topic. I invite you to come listen. And at the end, I might invite them to see if they wanted to work with me more. Podcast, obviously, is a kind of a speaker thing too. Don't directly monetize the podcast, but you can, again, use it to help people understand the deeper subjects that you've got, as well as it'll build trust. And the final piece of that is the possibility, if you're going to conferences, often conferences have all kinds of workshops. So you may not make a huge amount of money giving a workshop, but you can build an audience that way. And that's important too. And a lot of this is practice. I know one of the things I did before my first webinar is I actually hired a friend I know who's a performer, a speaker. He actually helped me learn to do some things that made me more effective. I was somewhat effective in my corporate career, but I knew I could have been better. He gave me a lot of great ideas. So again, think about if you're going to be a speaker or any of these other things, find other people that can help you get better at it. Now, I just wanted to give you, I'll call it the bottom line. So what does this make possible if you do some of these different things? And I won't go through all of them, but I'll just give you an example of things that I've seen people do or done myself. So for example, a Kindle book. There seems to be an interesting price point in Kindle books at $9.99 that maximizes your royalty share. But if you had a Kindle book at $9.99, you sold 200 books, that would be a gross of $2,000, and you get to keep about 2/3 of that, so about $1,500 or so. So not a huge amount, but again, as you think about these different ones adding up, we'll see. One-on-one coaching. You might say, I'm going to do one-on-one coaching with you for 6 months for $3,000, and you've got 4 clients. That could be about $12,000. And then on another way, you might say, I'm going to do 4-week boot camps, and I'm going to offer the boot camp for $500. Maybe I can get 6 people on average to attend, and then I'll do this boot camp 4 different times a year. That comes out to be about $12,000. Then group coaching. This is something you have to build up to, but it's a very effective. And group coaching, just membership sites, I think is super effective because it engages a whole group in learning and not just you and an individual. But a group coaching program, you might say for 6 months or 3 months, it's going to be $1,500, and I hope to have a group of 10 clients. 10 is an interesting number because it's small enough that everybody gets a chance to be heard in the group. And yet it's big enough so that if a couple of people can't be there on a given week or for a given session, you won't feel like it's just a couple of people. You'll still have a group that can bounce ideas off each other. But anyway, that one for $1,500 and 10 clients is about $15,000. Then we get into the courses. An online course, you might say, is $300 over time, and you might have 40 people take it over the course of a year. So that could generate $12,000. Then the membership site, I mentioned that earlier. And again, these don't have to be high ticket things. Some are very high ticket, but in general, say $20 a month for 12 months, and you have 100 members. That turns out to be about $24,000. Then the last two are the paid keynote. Again, you have expertise. You should go out and tell people that. But if you had a $3,000 speaking fee for a keynote and you got to do 4 events a year, that'd be about $12,000. And then likewise, again, paid workshops, probably you don't get as much there as a keynote. But if you did $1,000 and you did 4 events per year, that would be about $4,000. So the sum total of all this turns out to be about $93,000. Now, that's not all profit. There's expenses involved in doing all these things, whether it be the book, the cost of the book, or even the cost of technology to run these events and things. But there's something there, and hopefully this kind of thing, it would probably turn about a 60% profit. So you'd get about $60,000 out of a gross of $93,000. Again, you won't get all these things right the first time. You probably want to do 1 at a time or 2 at a time. One-on-one coaching is often the easiest and lowest cost way to start. So those are the things that I just want to offer these as opportunities. There are many different streams, and you may only choose 1 or 2 of these. You don't certainly have to try them all or even choose them all. And in fact, it would be very hard to actually get started, try to start them all at once. You would spend a year or half a year doing any one of them in practice. So I just offer these in the case of sometimes the people, as they think about my title, Encore Career, maybe I should be calling it the Encore Portfolio Life or something like that, because the intent has never been, at least not my intent, has been you're not jumping into another 100-mile-an-hour job, what you just left in corporate life. But the idea is there, you'd still get to share your expertise, but you get to do it maybe multiple ways, and you get to do it when you want, where you want, and you can do at the pace you want, as well as focusing on the work you love to do. That's it for this session. Remember, with an Encore Career, the rewards are great. You can work when you want, you can work where you want, and you can do the work you love. So if you're ready to get started today, please contact me at lynn@lynnfrias.com or head over to lynnfrias.com, maybe sample a few of the podcasts and get on the email list. See you soon, and thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.